Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are general messages for the sign of Scorpio in the month of October 2018. Hello, Scorpio. How are you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. As you can see, Scorp, I went ahead and I shuffled off camera to save time, so that's your main spread there. We're going to shuffle now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all cards are out and they're lying face up, that's when the reading will begin. You can look for a time for that in the description box below if you want to go ahead and jump ahead. Also down there is information on how to get a personal reading with me if you so desire. And happy birthday to any early Scorpios who are going to be celebrating quite soon in the tail end of October. So I hope you guys have a good birthday. Hope everything goes well for you and you get a present that you want, a present that you like. I don't know why I'm being kind of playful with you, which kind of might sound kind of weird. I usually am like that with like Aquarius and Pisces and maybe like Leo sometimes. I've usually been pretty like, you know, serious with you, Scorpio. So maybe my playful voice and I'm feeling a little like, not bubbly, but feeling charged up is what I'm feeling right now. So maybe that means something to some of you guys. I'm not sure. But anyway, happy birthday to you guys who will be celebrating this month. Let's go ahead and get your outcome for October 2018, please. Scorpio's outcome, October 2018. Yeah, okay. Wow. I would say Scorpio, well, there it is. My hands were itchy and still are a little bit itchy, and I just did, like literally just did Libra's reading. I had a drink of water in between you guys, but my hands are itchy. I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but that's what's going on. Come here. Oh my god, there it is. Alright, it came out like this as a side runner. Which way for Scorpio, please? Please show me. This way, thank you. Alright, let's get these rest of these flipped over, and we're going to see what's going on. Oh, come on now. There we go. Oh, ooh, my. And I say that because that's a few reversals for you, Scorpio. A lot of reversals, actually. Alright. How's that look? Looks pretty good. Excuse me. Pardon me. Alright, please show me where Scorpio is in October. Please show me Scorpio in October. Right here. Alright. Thank you. Scorpio, in October 2018, you come in as the King of Cups in reverse. I'll show you upright so you can be familiar with this deck. It is the Santa Muerte deck by Fabio Lestrani, if you're interested. And that's what it looks like upright. But you came in reversed. So, King of Cups, you're in your element as a water sign. Cups element. Or suit, I should say. Suit, not element. Some of you Scorpios, you might be drowning your sorrows, if that is like an actual drinking. As you can see, the King of Cups is having a little bit of a beverage. So that might be what some of you are doing. And if you're not actually like drowning your sorrows like in alcohol or drinking or smoking or doing anything else, or, you know, eating, whatever your vice is, if it's not a vice, if it's not that, you might just be having sort of like a pity party. You might be feeling Like, you might be doing that whole, you know, nobody knows the trouble I'm seeing. Like, you might be singing, like, sad songs, love songs. You might be reading not bad poetry, but you might be reading, you know, you're indulging in sad behavior, basically. What might be on the outside as sad behavior, what might be looked at as sad behavior, it actually for you might be very therapeutic. It might be very, it might be exactly what you need. Like, I don't feel like, okay, well, I feel that you might want this energy, the King of Cups energy, to be upright for you, because when he is upright, he's a lot more receptive to love and affection. He's a lot more open about his emotions, even though he's not super expressive. He's at least very honest and very, like I said, a little bit more receptive, or a little bit more giving of his affections. And right now, you're just like kind of close off to all that. You're just like, not today. You know, and maybe that is what it is. Like, maybe it's literally when you watch this video, just like, not today. No, thank you. No, thanks. I'll pass. You know, someone's like, oh, let me give you a hug. Oh my God, Scorpio, I haven't seen you in forever. You're like, okay, no, thank you. You know, because I think, you know, Scorpio, you're like just kind of in this mood. Like, you recognize like this is just like a mood for you. You're not gonna be here forever. You just feel like, not right now. No, thank you. Like, I'll pass. Because, you know, it's just not where you're vibrating right now. It's not the level that you're on right now. You're not on this level of, I love everybody, let's all have a great time. Not to say you don't want people to have a good time, but you're just like not up. You're not up. You're very down. You're very meh. You're very, okay. You know, just going through the motions. If you are out there socializing, partying, you know, smiling in people's photographs, taking selfies, like you're just doing it to do it. It's really pantomime. It's really, if I'm honest, it's really insincere. You're being really like, like you're smiling in people's faces, but on the inside you're like cursing them out. On the inside you're like, I hate you, I don't like you, you're stupid, you're insignificant. Like, and I hate to be throwing out like these abusive words, but that's kind of what the energy is. It's like, you're such a, like on the outside you're like, oh, this is great, we're all having a good time. Like, you could be sitting in a dinner party, you could be sitting in a celebration, and on the inside you're just like, you're all horrible people, you're all insignificant sheep, you're not enlightened, you don't know what pain is. Like, on the inside you are just like raging. But on the surface, you're just like, oh, yeah, this is a good time, ha, 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 ha. Or, you know, if someone, like, really tries to get, like, super cute with you, you're just like, I'll pass, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me, I appreciate you thinking of me, I appreciate you wanting to, you know, dance with me, or buy a drink for me, or, you know, whatever. Like, you're playing along, but only so far. Like, you're not gonna go and be completely disingenuous, but you're pretty damn disingenuous right now. Like, you're pretty like giving people different sides of yourself, because what's going on inside of you is just really deep. It's kind of personal. You're not able to really like justify completely why you feel that way. Like, to onlookers, it might seem kind of petty. Like, if you were to say, I'm in a bad mood, and then you explain why you're in a bad mood, or the reason why you think you're being in a bad mood, or what has caused you to realize you're in a bad mood, to other people it's like really petty. Like, for you, it could be, you know what, you could be like going into work, and, you know, it could be like, let's say you go into work, and let's say you have like a little parking structure or parking lot or whatever, and you're going in and you're about to pull into a space, but then someone like walks out in front of your car. Like, let's say someone's like, you know, on their phone or talking in a conversation with someone they're walking with, and they don't look to see that your car is approaching, and you kind of have to like slam on your brakes. And you're like, you know, to avoid hitting them, or to not get too close to them, to make it seem as though you were trying to hit them or something like that. And that could just like really put you in a bad mood. And so instead of letting people know that, you're just kind of like, here we go again. Idiots walking around the earth, not paying attention when they're crossing the street or when they're walking in a parking garage, which is full of, vehicles that could kill you if you're not paying attention. And like your mind is going on and on and on about that. And when people say, "Oh, hey Scorpio, how's your day going?" You're just going, "Oh, I'm good. It's fine." Because if you were to admit what is bothering you to other people, it could seem really insignificant or really petty or really just like you're being really over dramatic. Scorpio, you're like taking this too far. And for some reason, you don't see it that way. I'm using this example of someone walking in front of a car and not looking up and paying attention to where the traffic is going to or from. And that's, to me, significant as a person. I'm like, yeah, you should really look to see where cars are going. That's how I was raised. I was raised in a city. I'm not, no offense, I'm not some country bumpkin where, you have to worry about cars passing like every 40 minutes. Like, no, traffic is real. Cars going at not even high speeds, you could really do damage to a person if you're just going at 25 miles an hour if you strike them with your car. So I personally, as a human in my life, know getting hit by a car, I have been, is not fun. And you need to watch where you're going. If you're walking across the street, or even if you're in a crosswalk, if you're jaywalking, I don't care. The moment your foot hits asphalt and there's a road in front of you, you should pay attention. So for me personally, I realize that's important. And for you, Scorpio, it's even more than that. It's more than like, basic urban life survival skills. It's like, no, it's indicative because you see the person and they're crossing in front of your car and you see they're looking at their phone. You're like, this is the problem with our country, or this is the problem with the world today. Nobody looks up from their phone. Everybody just wants to be on their phones all the time, and they're not enjoying life. They're not looking at the world around them. They're not appreciating the trees and the birds and da-da-da-da-da. They're so consumed with social media, and it's like a deeper where, for me, as the outsider from your mind, Scorpio, I'm just like, oh yeah, people are just like not paying attention when they should. They should really, it's not about the deeper thing. Where for you, Scorpio, it is about the deeper thing. No, it's not just the phone. It could be anything. People just don't want to interact with the world around them. They're blind. They're like zombies. They're like mummies. Like, you're taking it to be like that person who made you pump your brakes in the parking lot is just indicative of how much more of a crisis we're having as a species at this point in our history. Like, at this point, humans are checked out. Humans are awful. Humans are, it's like deep to you. And to everybody else, it's just like, okay, so one person wasn't paying attention while they were crossing, the street or moving in the parking lot, and you're taking it to mean all of humanity is scum. Like, there's a disconnect between these two perspectives. There's not an intersection. Pun not intended, but there we go. There's not an intersection between what you're thinking and what someone else might be thinking. And you're just like, it's gonna lead to that. Like, if you say someone who didn't look up while they were crossing in front of your car means that humanity is on the brink of some, de-evolution or some type of step back in our development, people aren't going to read it that way. People are not going to interpret it that way. But you are, Scorpio, and you're just like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, or I'm just going to keep these thoughts to myself because I don't want to be ostracized any more than I have to be, honestly. Like, the King of Cups, when he's in the upright, would be open, and his kingdom, if you think of kings and queens as heads of kingdoms, his kingdom would be open. People could journey in, journey out. He would have counsel with his court. He would have, if the king is in a relationship, or you're in a relationship, Scorpio, your king, your counterpart, your queen, male or female, doesn't matter. would be, you know, you guys would have an open dialogue, you guys would have a reciprocated relationship, but you realize, I'm not in that mood. I'm just not in that mood. I'm not in that headspace right now. The walls are up around your kingdom. You've put the, you know, if we go historically, thinking of how royalty was, you know, centuries ago, you're like, tell the queen to just, like, go over there, like, send her to this castle. She can't be in my castle right now. Like, you know, if you know a little bit about history, like, that was the way some kings ran their kingdom. Look, I know she's my wife and everything, but she's on my nerves right now. Like, she's really getting on my, she's really, like, doing my head in. So, tell her to go to France. Just, like, send her to France. I'm like, my lord, yeah, send her to France. I don't want to see her right now. Bye. You know? So, you've got these walls up around you right now, Scorpio. You're not open. You're really reluctant to engage in what I'm going to call a truthful conversation. You're still truthful, like, and you're still cordial. I shouldn't say you're still truthful. You're still cordial. You're still going in and saying hello to people when you walk into a room. You're not being incredibly rude, but you are, you know, a portion of you is totally shut down. Like, draw the curtains, lock the doors, forget it. I'm not talking to people. I'm not engaging with people to a certain extent. So, yeah. And now, that was to me, a very strong starting point. I didn't look at this board at all. And I see you've got a lot of different... Yeah. There we go. Thank you. Is that right? Okay. Yeah. I'm like, thank you. Is that right? Yes. All right. So, I think what's going on partially inside of you, Scorpio, you've got the Empress card next to your starting position as the King of Cups. And this Empress card is... It's ironic, not ironic, but it's interesting that she's shown up next to your King of Cups, because I feel like this is sort of what you want to be, and maybe what you've been in the past, but there's a disconnect right now, because the Empress energy, ruled by Venus, so you might have a connection with a Taurus person or a Libra person, since they're ruled by Libra, thank you, but doesn't have to be, but it is a card of romance and effusive affection and, you know, fertility and abundance and just like sensual nature, being like so in love with life, in love with everything that is on this earth, the people, the plants, the animals, the experiences, the senses. Like, everything I see is beautiful. Everything I smell is just so intoxicating. Everything I taste is delicious. Like, reveling in the beauty is what the Empress is all about. Reveling in the beauty that is life, that is this experience, that is this existence. And sharing it with others. And wanting to share it with others. Being like, oh my god, I just bought the most delicious bunch of nectarines. And you bring them into your family. You take one to your best friend. You give one to your child. You give one to your lover. And you're like, taste this nectarine. Oh my god, it's so delicious. Like, being exuberant and exhilarated to experience both the big and the little things in life. And loving all of it. The nectarines and, you know, winning $1 million in the lottery. Like, those, I hope that's like an extreme to you. Like, just sharing a piece of fruit with a person and being like, oh my god, isn't this the most amazing thing you've ever tasted? It's a small thing, a small gesture, and a small exchange between you and another person versus, I just won $1 million, or I just won however much. Oh my god, let's all go on this lavish vacation. And you bring in your friends, you bring in your family. Let's travel here. Let's go experience this. Let's buy out a theme park and let's go and just do this. And it's like really extravagant. It's really lavish. It's like spending money when you don't have to on crap that is not important. Like, I just bought 5 BMWs. Take your pick. Which one do you want? You know, that's lavish. That's extreme. So going from something so small or something so simple as, oh my God, taste this piece of fruit, or taste this, oh my God, take a bite of my sandwich. Oh, it's delicious. I know, right? And like having that be something that brings like an honest moment of joy between you and another person versus something so extreme, which is like extravagant, over the top ways of living, lifestyle, indulgence. You know what I mean? Like, the Empress enjoys all of that and everything in between. And you want that. If you have not ever had it, you want it so bad. And if you've had it in the past, you want it again. You're like, I'm off my square in this King of Cups reversed energy. Like, damn it. Why do I feel this way? I want to be like this. I've tasted that before. I've been in this space before where everything I looked at was beautiful. Every person I talked to was beautiful. Not in the superficial sense of, oh my God, they're gorgeous, but beautiful like as in they're a beautiful human being and we had a beautiful exchange and everything was luxury or not luxury, but everything was luscious in that way. Like, it was really like encompassing, like it filled you, like it cuddled you like a big hug, like a really soft blanket, like the softest blanket, the most amazing bed, like you fell into it, like a bed of, I can't explain. I hope whatever I'm saying gives you some type of visual. And that's what the Empress is all about. And you want this, but you're not finding this in yourself and in others at the same time. You're looking at other people and you're like, oh my God, that person's ugly. Again, not necessarily in a physical, superficial way, but like, oh my God, they're ugly. Like the person on their phone crossing in front of your car. You're an ugly human being. Get off of your phone. Why are you being an idiot? That to you equals ugly. That to you equals not attractive, not anything worthwhile, not anything substantial, not anything that indicates that humanity is on the right track. You're looking at that and like, this is it. This is the downfall of everything. People are on their phones. People are not having genuine conversations. People are being really shallow. People aren't eating food and realizing how blessed they are to eat food, while even in this city, even in this community, even in this building, if you're at work or you're at church, there are other people in here who don't have anything to eat when they go home, and you're over here throwing away half of a sandwich. Are you an idiot? Are you, all that is going on in your head. And you don't want to be that way. You don't want to be that way. You would rather be the freaking Empress. You would rather see the beauty in things and realize, okay, that person threw away a sandwich, and that might be an ugly act, or that might be an act of thoughtlessness or recklessness, but how can I counteract that? The Empress is very active. I should say that. Let's go and talk more specifically about the Empress, because it's not only about the experiences and everything being bright and beautiful and luscious and enjoyable for you. It's also that you realize you can affect change. The Empress is very industrious. She is in this lovely garden that she has, and she's on this throne, and it's a little bit different because let me retract that. She's not in a garden. On the traditional tarot, she is in a garden. In this card, she's sitting on a throne. Or throne? An ornate chair, we'll say. I'm not sure that she has a throne, but she seems to be sort of like in a cave or some kind of. She might be in a cave, but regardless. Or rather, that might be the point of it. If she's inside a cave, she's got all these like decorative flowers around her. She's got all this beauty around her. And when you look at the background, it's like this dark green, black kind of area. And the floor is just a floor, but there's somehow sunflowers on the floor. Like this is like stone maybe, but there's still flowers coming out of it. So that is sort of also the subtext, or the deeper part of it is, yes, of course, if I won $1 million, or if I won any type of money, or if I came into some type of wealth or some type of abundance, I would share that with other people. That is beautiful. But then also, amid hard times or amid sort of dire situations, I can insert beauty. So the moment I see someone throw out their part of their lunch while someone else in this building or someone else in this community will go home hungry or go home to situations that aren't joyful or aren't easy or quite difficult or quite strenuous or quite stressful. How can I insert my abundance, whether that's money, time, affection, whatever, however you feel abundant, Scorpio, however and whatever you think you can share with another person? That's sort of like the idea of the sunflowers or the flowers in general growing out of stone. In an ugly world, or in a situation, or in the specifics of someone's life where they don't have enough money, you just go up to them. Not a homeless person or anything like that. It doesn't have to be so obvious. It can be someone that you know, and being like, "Hey man, how are you?" I'm doing okay. No, really, like, tell me, how are you doing? I'm worried about this, or I don't have any money until payday. You know what? Let me get you lunch. Let me buy you lunch. And that's it. That's it. The Empress would do that. The Empress has the ability to do that. And you want that ability, you want that connection with other people, and you want that connection with the world. In large, the world. But you're not having it right now. Even though it's upright. Even though it's right next door to your King of Cups energy, I feel that this Empress is blocked. You're not connecting with it. You want to. I think you will at some point. Like I said, I feel like this King of Cups is like a moment. Like, I'm not feeling it right now. Due to this circumstance, due to this situation in my own life, due to this perspective or this mood I've been in lately, I'm just not here I'm not here for any of that. You'll get back to that. But I think that's the significance of this showing up, is like, it may not be accessible to you now. You may recognize that there's a disconnect between where you are here in the King of Cups energy and the Empress energy, and where you want to be or where you have been before. Could be recently. It could be like even last month, last week, that you were feeling like this, and now this week you're like, oh God, I hate people. I hate people. And Scorpio, you know yourself. You can be that way. I'm not going to tell you anything you don't know about yourself. You know that about yourself. You can be like, people are amazing. People are beautiful. I love this. And then like the next day, everything is doom and gloom. Everything is terrible. People are disgusting. And then, in a couple days, you'll be back here. So there's like this potential like ebb and flow between these two energies, potentially. Yeah. And maybe that's why, well, maybe that's why you're kind of blocked from the Empress energy, is because you have this Justice card. You have this Judgment card in reverse right above her. Show you upright so you can become familiar with it. And if I didn't say this is the... Ooh, come on, hold the card, hand, jeez. If I didn't say this is the Santa Muerte deck by Fabio Lestrani, if you're interested in knowing that. But reversed. So, I think it could be like an overkill, or like... perhaps something hasn't come to pass yet that needs to come to pass. And I'm using that phrase, and I'm realizing as I was saying it, like what the imagery is on this card, like a funeral site, a burial, right? And come to pass. Pass, a lot of times we use that as a euphemism for death, right? Passing. He passed on, she passed. Oh, when mom passes, da-da-da. If we phrase things that way to omit using the word die or death. Okay? So there might be something, not literally a person or a situation that needs to die, but figuratively. Like figuratively, something hasn't come to pass. Something hasn't been let go of. Some resentment in some cases. Some unresolved issue with you personally, Gemini. You have something inside of you that's not been reconciled, has not been handled, has not been let go of, or properly buried to keep in line with our theme. And you rule the death card. The death card is not here, but you rule the death card, Scorpio. You know, you're heavily, if you don't want to think of rulership, you are heavily associated with the death card. If you don't want to think of it as like you rule the death card. Some of you, I'm like, why am I saying that? I always say rule, but I'm like, they're like, some people may not like that. I'm like, okay, fine. Some of you might not like the word rulership right now. And that kind of is sort of down here, right? Where we're talking about the state of humanity and the path that we as a species are on. Some of you are like having like these really existential conversations in your mind or with other people, or you're avoiding having these conversations, or you're avoiding getting too deep into that train of thought. And so the idea of rulership, who owns what, or who has dominion over this and who has dominion over that, and it could just, this is very deep. You and Libra have some deep stuff right now, because I just did their reading and theirs was very deep and yours is deep too. But there's something about ownership, rulership, control, and it's not been put to bed. It's not been laid to rest. It's not come to pass. It's pending. It's residual. It's still in your vicinity. It's still in your mind. And I think, Scorpio, being a fixed sign like you are, and I'm a fixed sign too, I understand when something is like in your mind a certain way, that's kind of how you want it to be. You know, if you say it's this, not like in a control, Scorpios have characteristics of being controlling and possessive, stereotypically I should say, but I think it's sort of like you've come to a conclusion about something regarding you yourself, or regarding a situation, regarding a facet of life, political, spiritual, religious, whatever. You've come to certain conclusions. And the Judgment card being in reverse shows that that conclusion is actually is not as solid as you think it is. You think you've made a decision. You think you've settled you think you've settled on something, and it's not true. It's not true. It's still up for debate. It's still up for revision. It's still up for review. And I don't think you're necessarily in tune with the nuance of what that means. Because Judgment, when it's in the upright, is talking about things that were laid to rest, things that were buried and gone, coming up for final judgment, like in the biblical sense, right? Coming up for final judgment, to be evaluated for the last and truly final time, right? When it's like this, we're not doing that. We're not going to review that. We're not having, we're not, digging that issue up. We're not digging up that conversation. We're not going to go back to that relationship and review it. Everything is what it is supposed to be. Like, I said what I said. I believe what I believe. This is how I feel. Done, done, done. Like, donezo. Totally finished. Finito. Capito? That was like the worst. Why did I say that? Anyway, that's how some of you feel. It's like, no. It's not up for review. It's not up for debate. We don't need to go back there and think about this. And a lot of this is actually internal. I'm saying we, but I think a lot of that is for yourself. I'm not going to think about that again. I'm not going to think about this part of my life again. I'm not going back and reviewing this aspect of my personality. I am who I am, and that's it. I'm okay with my reactions to this or my belief about that being what it is. And that's just where you are. And like I said before, the Empress is blocked because of that. And because of the King of Cups. These two reversals keep her tucked away in this little corner where she's like, hey man, life is great. we can insert beauty into everything we do, into every conversation, every relationship we have. We have this capacity, and on the surface, you're just like, no, not gonna talk about it. Not, nope, 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 nope. Like, your surface self and your deeper internal self are just like, nah, nope, 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 nope. Which is... energetically, I feel that's kind of ironic. Because, again, you were like this, or you want this so bad, and the irony is you're not doing anything to make this energy become more prevalent, to rise up to the surface, to counteract the King of Cups or the Judgment card in reverse. You're shutting yourself off from acting in the interest of the Empress. The Empress, in her upright energy, is not vengeful. She doesn't hold grudges. She's not judgmental. She is and extends love. She is and she extends hope. She is and she extends, like I said earlier, like about the whole lunch situation, how you can recognize that someone is having a hard time and they need a helping hand, and you want to help, but you don't. Or the way you help isn't exactly the way you could help. Or it's not enough. And that might be a judgment. I might be revealing like your own judgment. Like, I could have done more. And so you're like kind of judging yourself, and you're kind of like being like, well, you know, I tried my best, and, you know, I can't go back and fix it. You know, maybe like some of you have like committed. Maybe some of you have had a social faux pas between you and another person. Like maybe it was you recognize someone had an issue financially, and you're like, hey, you know, what's going on? Tell me what's up. And they tell you, and you're like, okay, well, let me just write you a check. And they're like, I don't want your money, Scorpio. I don't need that. And they felt insulted, perhaps. And you're judging yourself by that. Well, I did all I could. That was the best I could have done. And the Empress, not to say like that is necessarily condescending to just like give someone money or offer them a check. That could just have been, you know, the way that person was feeling that day. And maybe they're too proud to come back to you and say, you know what, Scorpio, I overreacted. My pride was hurt. My ego was hurt by that. And I apologize, blah, blah, blah. And I appreciate you trying to help me. I'm still not going to accept your money, but I don't want you to feel like I didn't appreciate the gesture. Maybe they didn't say that to you. And maybe they never will say that to you. But because of how things transpired, where you tried to help, you tried to offer out its assistance, and it was rejected, or it wasn't received the right way, or it wasn't appreciated in the way that you felt it should be appreciated, where maybe someone did take your money. Oh, thank you, Scorpio, and they ran off. They never really thanked you other than that one time. They never like came back and said, you know, that $50 you loaned me, that really helped me out. I was able to do this, this, and this, and I really wanted to thank you for that. Maybe they just said, oh, they took your money, shook your hand, and like, oh, thanks so much, and you never spoke about that again. And then you felt like you were taken advantage of, you were taken for granted. I'm giving you like all, I hope something here is like kind of in the ballpark of what's going on, because I feel this can go on and on forever. Like all these different examples of how you at some point in the interest and in the fashion that the Empress might have extended yourself and offered out and said, you know, I've got more to share. I have this to share with you. I have this bit of advice. I have this portion of money. I have this time. In some cases, I spent time with a person and they never thanked me. Or I spent time with a person and they didn't appreciate it. Or I spent time with a person, but it was an awful experience and I regret doing it because, you know, we had this happen along the way. Whatever. And you're judging yourself. You're saying, well, I tried and it didn't work out, so I'm not going to try again. And the Empress wouldn't be like that. The Empress would continue to do it. Maybe not with that same person. The Empress might say, okay, well, Jim Bob over there took my $50 and ran off and never thanked me again. I'm not going to give Jim Bob money again. But I have money, or I have time, or I have advice. I can offer it to other people. Or maybe I won't offer money next time instead of offering like actual physical dollars. You know, sometimes they say that instead of like giving money to a person in need, you go and get the items that they need, or you pay for the service that they need, or you pay the bill that, you know, they need being paid. So instead of saying, here's, you know, X amount of money, go do with it what you want. Sometimes maybe then you need to, okay, well, let's go to the store and let's get what you need. Let's pick it out together. I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? So like there's a slight altering of the action that needs to happen. And the Empress would do that. She would sort of compromise. A word you love so much, Scorpio, right? She would compromise and find the way to really connect with the other person, or make the actual impact in the situation that is most effective, most positive, most significant, or beneficial, right? But basically, you know, you got burned. You got burned, or you were rejected, or you were disappointed. Again, you weren't appreciated. In some cases, maybe you felt manipulated. And you're just like, all right, never again, never again. I'm not going to waste my time. And that means a lot to you, Scorpio. You're not going to waste your time because you are a deeply feeling person. Scorpio, you like, if I thought about it, I think like a Cancer would be like a lake. Scorpio would be like a river, because, you know, rivers can run deeper, they can be shallow, but regardless, they're always running. Like, they're always headed downstream. Like, they are never still. And Pisces are like that. Scorpio, you're like the ocean. You're the ocean. You run to the deepest parts of the earth. And you have things down there in your depths that nobody knows about. Like, I don't know how much you know about oceanography, and I don't know much either, but I have a casual knowledge. I've got like a sprinkling Jeopardy knowledge of the ocean, and there's still so much down there that we don't know about. It's too deep. We can't get down there. As human beings living on the surface with all our technology, all our machinery, we can't get down there. The pressure's too much. It's too cold, or whatever it is. I think it's more the pressure, right? The pressure. And like, there's not enough oxygen. Like, we can't dive that deep. We would lose oxygen on the way up, you know? So that's what you are. Like, if all water signs were kind of linked to like bodies of waters, like Cancers would be, you know, like a lake or like a small sea, like pretty calm on the surface. They have the potential to go deep, but you can always find the bottom. You can always know where the bottom is. Okay. Pisces are rivers, are streams, you know, they can be deep, they can be shallow. It varies along the trajectory of the entire body of the entire river. And sometimes they're raging, you know, sometimes a river can be raging, and then, you know, after a rage, it gets all calm and peaceful, right? That's a Pisces. You're an ocean. You crash onto the beach, you're big waves, da-da-da, but then other parts of the ocean, you're just lapping onto the sea. Very calm. And the further you go in to an ocean, the deeper it goes. So there's just this rich and massive complexity to you, Scorpio, that kind of is in this corner here. There's such a deep complexity to you as a human. Like, you care so much, but then you care nothing at all. It's almost like a dichotomy. It's almost like a diverging, they're almost like opposites. Like, you know, like I said, one day you're cool and you're like, yeah, everything's great. Life is great. Life is grand. I love everybody. Next day you're like, to hell with everything. You can all burn. Like, you might have those extreme thoughts. You might have those extreme emotional feelings. But I think right now, for this reading, as it's contained within the month of October, thereabouts, I should say, I feel that you ultimately really want to be in this Empress energy more than anything. You want to conquer those darker or more, quote-unquote, negative sides of yourself and be more loving, be more open, and be more enveloped in and giving of abundance. But you're blocked. You are your own blockage right now. And that's, again, going back to how you started in the King of Cups energy, just the mood right now. That could be because of circumstance. You know, you could hate your job. You could work with people who make you feel this way, or you know, you work in an area that makes you feel this way, or you could be the job industry that you work in isn't one where you can be so loving and effusive and open and have these deep, human, honest, genuine human connections that you want. Maybe you're like a stockbroker, for God's sakes. We don't have time for niceness here, Barbara. Get down in the pit and get me some, you know. It could be like that. And so I feel like you're just like kind of is that it? Yeah, I think given the outline, that's silly. The layout, the outline, the layout of these cards. This Empress, I feel you don't really know any other way, but this is how you're choosing to protect her. Is by putting up these walls, is by being kind of like antisocial to a certain extent and you're preserving it. Like I said, some of you've come in contact with people who don't appreciate what you've given them, or that's your perspective. As you feel they don't appreciate you, they don't appreciate your actions, your gestures, your concern. Therefore, I'm reneging on that. I'm taking it back, and I'm not giving it out to anybody else. Like, this person has ruined it for everybody. And that's your way of preserving. That's your way of protecting your Empress energy. Protecting this urge you have. Okay? And that gives you this Ace of Wands in reverse. Upright so you can see it. Every card in this deck has a skull at some point in it, and so I love this deck. Not like I like skulls or anything. I just love the deck. Skulls are kind of not my thing. Like, I don't think I would ever decorate with like skulls or like Dia de los Muertos. Like, I can appreciate it. It's not part of my heritage. I can appreciate it, but I'm kind of like, okay. But anyway. Like, yeah. So, you've got the Ace of Wands in reverse. So, you're just, like, not feeling inspired. This situation or this experience where, you know, your Empress energy at some point was showing, was out. It was part of who you were. It was part of this energy that you were projecting towards others. And it's just not appreciated. People kind of have poo-pooed on it. They've rained on your parade. They've shut you down. They've taken your money and run. Whatever it is. And now you're just like, oh no. No. I'm not interested in anything new. No, thank you. And so, and being that this is a Wands card, that would be new opportunities and new ideas in a creative sense. It would be feeling like you could go out there and conquer the world, and you know, you might have new hobbies. Like I said, you might have at some point had a creative idea, or you had some artistic thing that you wanted to express. Maybe you wanted to like sculpt something or paint something. In other cases, maybe you're like, oh my God, I'm going to join like the local softball team because I used to play in college, but I haven't played in like 5 years and I just want to get back out there. And now you're just like, oh, to hell with that. Never mind. Like, all of this is like a big never mind, these 4 cards. Well, not these 4 cards, but these 3 cards that are surrounding the Empress. It's just like, oh, never mind. Because you've been soured. Something or someone or the mood or the energy around you right now is sour. And you're just like, I can't be bothered. And the Ace of Wands would be like, I want to be bothered. I want to be challenged. Also that, you're not open to challenges. Like, And maybe that, okay, so that could be it. You're not, so how I said you're not feeling creative, like you're not expressing that outwardly. You're not like open to those avenues or those ways of newness and creativity. You're not open to them. The other thing that's happening is that you're not open to... Oh my God, don't let me lose that. Bring it back. Oh, got it. Come back. Damn. It was so beautiful. And then... So I guess I wasn't supposed to say that. Ah. Okay, maybe. Come back a little bit. Okay, thank you. This is not exactly what I was just thinking about, that they just had in my head. So it's slightly tweaked, this message. So let me show you upright again so you can kind of see. So you see how, like, in the front of this card, the skull and the red plant and the flower, it's all very vibrant and attractive. And even those blades of grass, the green there. But, and the little centipede, I guess, there, that little blue insect in the foreground there. Very vibrant. But then look at the ground. It's very dark. It's very dreary. It's very dreary brown. Oh, here comes the song. It's like super loud. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that, Scorpio. That song gets really loud and it kind of distracts me. Anyway, so you've got the red, you've got the green, you've got that blue insect, but the ground is like that dark brown color, very earthy. And then in the background, you've got like this very blue, dreary, and the vegetation is like dead, right? So because this is in reverse, you're not open to revitalization right now. Like, beyond the external hobbies and being creative and joining a sports team, or in some cases maybe like traveling to experience something like, oh, you know, it's October, so maybe there's like a great, you know, festival going on, a town or over from you, or, you know, a big concert or something that's going on, and your friends are going, and they're like, hey, Scorpio, come with us, and you're just like, I don't want to. So beyond like the external experiences and getting out and interacting in life, you, deeper than that, are kind of like not wanting to... This is not exactly what that message was. And again, I guess I wasn't supposed to talk about that. But you're not interested in bringing vitality back into your own body, your own existence. You're tired. Okay. A lot of you are tired. Ooh, thank you. Okay. Maybe that's why. See, they rerouted me. I appreciate it. Okay, look. So, Ace of Wands in reverse. Also in reverse, Judgment. And remember, Judgment, bringing things out from the dead, calling them up for final judgment. There's this idea of the cycle of things going down, and then they come back up. Go down, come back up. And it's like going in that pattern. And the Ace of Wands next to it is showing that you're not interested in... Or excuse me, you don't have the energy, You don't have the energy to do that. There's no energy to revisit and reevaluate and restructure and reconsider things. You don't have the energy. Like maybe you were doing that recently, past couple months, past couple weeks, whatever, even years, where you were giving people second chances. You were going back out there and extending your advice, or extending your time, or, you know, spending time with people. Maybe you were volunteering. Maybe it's something really like actual, like, or something so specific like that. Like maybe you were volunteering and maybe you were making connections with some people, but then, you know, maybe you were like having disagreements along the way, or again, people were manipulating you, or you weren't appreciated, your time wasn't appreciated, your resources weren't appreciated in this volunteer situation, and you just got burnt out, and you're just like, I can't go back to it. And so maybe someone is like emailing you or calling you and saying, hey, Scorpio, you know, we could use you down here at the soup kitchen, or we could use you over here volunteering with the kids, or you made a wonderful donation to us in 2017 or 2018, or yeah, this is 2018. What the hell am I talking about? In 2017, 2016, something like that. You know, we really are calling all of our donators up and asking them again to contribute. And you're just like, you know, I put money into this, or I put my time and effort into this. And while I can appreciate that it was impactful, that it was a sharing of what I have to offer, and I felt good doing it, but there's something about it now, Scorpio, where you can go back and do it again, or you could revisit it again, or you could, you know, spend time with this person again. It doesn't have to be specifically to volunteering, but I'm trying to give an example to illustrate to you what the message is here. And you're just like, I don't have the energy to do that. I don't have the energy, because wands are related to the element of fire, and fire is a dynamic energy. It's an action-oriented energy, and you just don't have the energy to do that. I can't do it again. For various reasons, I just can't. You know your reasons, I don't. And this is like the corner or the four cards of irony, because I feel like centrally you really do want to be Empress-like. You don't want to completely forget that part of you, Scorpio. You don't want to completely shut this off. But you've got these three cards in reverse, significantly blocking that energy from coming out. Now, I said it again in the beginning with the King of Cups. I feel like it's really temporary. Not temporary as in like tomorrow all of this energy will flip up in the upright and you're just going to go out there and be the big, bright, shining Empress again. No, I don't think it's like that. I think it's temporary as in like a phase, a stage in your life. Because of a circumstance, you can't do this. So when your circumstances change, then these will change. So that circumstance could be a relationship, could be a job, could be a certain social status. Maybe you only make X amount of dollars per year now. Like maybe you were a donator 2 or 3 years ago because you had a different job. Now you had to take on another job and your expenses went up or whatever. And so now you can't afford to make those donations because you got to take care of you. Like the Empress will always take care of her. Like I said before, she is a doer. She is very much in control of her own abundance. She makes sure that whatever she puts out, she's putting twice as much back in. Not like in a selfish way, but in a way of sustaining. If I give out as much as I'm getting in, if I let that all back out the door, I'm not going to have anything to stand on. I'm not going to have this abundance. So I have to make sure that my stability or my resources keep coming in, that I keep putting energy, money, time, effort, love back into myself. The Empress is always in the interest of self-preservation, and it's not a selfish act. It's not a selfish act to make sure that your plate is full, because, you know what I mean? It's just not. It's just not. Especially when you're in that Empress energy and knowing, okay, I've got a full plate, and once I've fed myself and made sure that I'm okay, I then will take what's left over from my dinner or what's left over in my kitchen and I'll give it to someone else. The Empress will not be in the consistent practice of giving her last dollar, giving out her last slice of bread. She might occasionally, because she knows, okay, well, I'll give you my last slice of bread because I know tomorrow I'm going to get 20 loaves in, so I'm not worried about my last slice. But if it was literally her last slice and she had no future loaves of bread coming in, she's going to be like, I wish I could help you, but I can't. I gotta build up my resources. I gotta build up my closet or my I gotta build up my bread cabinet, okay? I can't just give you any more of my bread. And I'm saying bread meaning like literal food, but going back to the whole money analogy, if you know, like, yeah, sure, I make this much money a month or I make this much money a year, and in the past, I could have given you guys, you know, I could have easily cut you guys a charity that you love, a check for $1,000. But since I last dealt with you guys, my expenses went up. I suddenly have to pay alimony, or I suddenly have to pay for a new car because my other one broke down. And it's not to say that you don't care about that charity. It's not to say that you don't care about the good that they do in the world, or even if it's a direct person, I don't care about you. No, I got to make sure I'm okay. If I'm okay, then you're okay. If I'm not okay, I got to take a moment and take care of myself. So I had to clarify that for somebody out there, because the Empress is not a martyr. She's not going to, no, she's just not. If I'm doing good, we're all doing good. If I'm not doing good, I'll be back with you guys when I get into a better space. Until then, sorry, can't help you. And maybe that's what's going on. You know, maybe it's not, for all of you, it's not going to be you're in a doom and gloom mood. Some of you know, I just don't have the wiggle room. I don't have the abundance to share. I got bills to pay. I got things that are eating at my time. I don't have the energy. Like I said before, I don't have the energy for this. When I get my energy back up, I'll get with you. Until then, sorry, can't help you. Okay? Now, maybe that's what's going on. Ooh. Is that what you're doing? Show me that. Because who was I talking to about that? Was that Cancer? Might have been Cancer or Leo. Or, I don't know, maybe Virgo. I don't know who the hell it was. But, you know, I don't do my readings, you know, left to right, past, present, future. Most of the time I don't. I'm a reader who goes off of symmetry, patterns, things like that. And I am not consciously asking for them. I just know of myself and my life in general. That's what I look for. Like when, as a nice little aside, like when I play like something like The Sims, I'm kind of a gamer. When I play Sims, like I love symmetry. I love things to be even and structured and like kind of follow patterns. So that's my design style. So my houses are usually pretty boring. Like it's usually like a square and like X amount of rooms in that square. You know what I mean? So that's how my brain is. And that's sort of like I'm giving you like a huge aside here, Scorpio. But I think we're friendly enough that I can do this. And I think that's kind of why I'm not proficient in any other language but English. But when people like try to, like every time I've taken a language course, even though I don't speak any other language, I do well in those courses because I'm able to see the pattern in other languages and filter it back into my native language. So, you know, and people just don't get it. Other people don't get it. Like, how do you remember all that stuff? Like, how do I remember certain phrases? Like, you know, I haven't learned Russian in forever. And, you know, I can still say a few phrases. And I don't know. I know what it means. And I don't know why I'm mentioning this. Oh, right. Because of the patterns. So for me, you know, strosvidie ochempriano. Like, okay. I know what that means. It, like, doesn't sound at all similar to English. And that is also the barrier for a lot of people when they learn languages, or at least this is what I've talked to people, is like, oh, I speak English, so when hello doesn't sound like hello in another language, like maybe like, I think it's like Swedish, allo, something like that. Oh yeah, hello, like they get it. Or hola, that sounds similar to hello. Strosvidie does not sound similar to the English hello, therefore someone would never remember it because they have an auditorial or a sound link to language. Me, I'm like, what's the pattern? Does this equal English? Or excuse me, does this equal hello? What's the equivalent greeting in said language? Okay, strosvidie. Hola, konnichiwa. Like, it's just in my mind, the pattern is what plugs in here. So why am I saying all this? Because what plugs in here? Reverse, 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 reverse. Upright, upright. So there's a plug in here. There's a symmetry going on here. And that's where I was going to. There's something symmetrical going on here where in my readings, that's what speaks to me. So there's symmetry here. There's balance here. You can see a pattern. If I'm sitting on this side of the table, I've got one card to the left of me that's upright. And then I have a card to the right of me up here that's upright. And then everything. It just speaks to me. I don't know why I'm telling you that. But I did. So anyway, you've got this Page of Pentacles up here. And she is surrounded by reversals in a similar way that the Empress is. So, Page of Pentacles. Might be a person who is a earth sign who might be significant to you in your storyline. So a Taurus, Virgo, or a Capricorn, but does not have to be. A younger person, potentially. Doesn't have to be. Could just be young in energy. But pages are oftentimes linked to children or adolescents or, you know, just young adults. But also more often it's just more someone who's like new or fresh to the game, new or fresh to a situation, or new or fresh to the element that they're associated with. So Pentacles would be dealing with like finances. So this might be somebody who might be newly hired at your job, or somebody who is studying something financial, or is new to, like I said, something financial. So they could be like newly in the real estate business. I don't know. And this person... That's funny. That's funny. Okay. So you see this person? And let's go back to the beginning of this reading where I said, oh, like crossing the street in front of a car and not paying attention. Like, the way this young page looks, stuffing something into her purse, kind of focused on that action, not really looking around. Like, I get the sense that she's moving, like she's walking, but she's not 100% paying attention to her walk. She's like in her bag looking for something, or, you know what I mean? So maybe that's what happened. Like someone crossed in front of you and they were looking in their bag, they weren't looking up, and, you know, you had to honk your horn at them or pump your brakes in front of them. So this could be that person. Not saying that they have to be an earth sign or anything like that, but they would be a young person, Page of Pentacles, maybe new to your job, new to that industry, whatever you work in. And your connection with this person, not necessarily literally the person that crossed in front of your car, or literally you've had some kind of disagreement with, or some type of, I don't even like looking at her, like whatever I was saying at the beginning with this King of Cups energy. But this is like an ingenue, I get. Like, the intentions of this person are, for lack of a better word, pure. Like, I know that's like a word on Tumblr. I don't even know if it's like been recently used, but earlier this year and last year, pure, they're too pure, 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 pure. I'm like, oh my God, young people. So this person is like that, like an ingenue, like they're pure, like they're really, perhaps naive is a more, is that song again? That would be funny if that was it. And if it is, I'm just going to let it play this time. But anyway, so they're really like naive, kind of wet behind the ears, perhaps very optimistic. And you're aware of this person. Like, the reason they've shown up is that they're significant to you. I'm not necessarily saying that you're close with them, that you have... Focus, please. How dare you not focus? There we go. Okay. Not saying that you have any type of relationship with them, but they might be here to like sort of teach you something. They might be the wake-up call that you need. Like, maybe literally this person does something quite inconsequential, quite innocently. They don't mean to upset you. They don't mean to, you know, violate some social protocol or, you know, anything like that. But they're in your vicinity to reflect something back to you, I think. And for the most part, you're like closed off to them. You don't possibly even interact with this person, but they're there and you notice them. And they're just going about their life, trying to live their life the best way they know how. They're not trying to make waves. They're not trying to be, you know, for lack of a better phrasing, a shit stirrer or anything like that. They really are just out there being themselves and being a nice person. They're a nice person. I don't think this person is vindictive or inconsiderate in the way that you might view them as being inconsiderate or unaware in the way that, again, if this is the person who's like on their phone or in their bag while they're walking across a busy street or in a parking lot or something like that, that is not something for you, Scorpio, to make full judgment of their character on. Like, that's just a bit of what you see about them. That one incident is not going to tell you their life story. And you logically know that, but the reason that they're here is just so that I can point it out to you, kind of like to highlight it to you. Like, okay, that one incident is not who that person is. You really need to cut them some slack. And you really possibly not need to, but you could benefit from observing them further. Like, maybe that was the one time that they ever would look at their phone while walking along in a parking structure. Maybe that was the only time that they were, you know, because maybe that day they were waiting on a text from someone that was important. You know what I mean? Like, the little details of why someone does something that seems inconsiderate, that seems that they're being a bonehead, could be because circumstantially something was greater than the social norm or the social courtesy or even the social awareness that you, Scorpio, believe is always necessary. Whenever you're out walking in a parking lot or whatever, you should have your head up and you should be paying attention. Maybe that day the text that they were looking at on their phone was from someone who had just gone into the hospital for like a life-saving surgery, and they were saying to the person crossing, I love you so much, blah, 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 blah. You know, you don't know. But for you, sitting in your car, going about life with certain rules and regulations and expectations that you have, Scorpio, you were like, look at this bonehead on her phone, on his phone, walking in front of my car. I could have hit them, and then what? Da 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 da. And you go off on a tangent, and you go off thinking all these things about them, when really that's not who they are normally. And if this is a situation where you work with this person or you see them regularly in some type of way, you would realize, oh, they're not really like that. So even going back to the person that you give the $50 to or you cut the check for, and they're like, thanks, Scorpio, and they run off and they do whatever, and they don't come back to you. Maybe, you know, they haven't had the time yet. Maybe in a year or two, couple months, couple of weeks, they'll come back to you. But because you think, oh, I gave you that check last week, you should thank me today. According to you, sure, that's what you would have done in their shoes, but you're not them. And I'm not trying to, you know, condescend to you or anything like that, but I think that's sort of what's going on here. Is like there's like a misunderstanding of people's sensibilities and people's different personality types, you know. That's a very external energy, this Page of Pentacles. You have like no connection to them other than they're around, you see them, and maybe you've thought some things about them, and maybe you need to reconsider about them. And it's up to you to make that decision if you're going to do that. Beneath the Page of Pentacles, and on the other side of your King of Cups starting position, you have the Chariot in reverse. I'll show you upright, just in case. Oh, you got a long reading too. You and Libra, you guys are getting me today. But yeah, the Chariot card of Cancer, might be a Cancer of significance in your life, but it doesn't have to be. But in reverse. So Cancer's card, or excuse me, the Chariot card, is usually talking about decision making, making two sides of two divergent or two opposing energies come together to work towards one goal or move down one path. Like, you know, two different colored horses need to come together and share a bridle and move the cart along or move the chariot along, right? In reverse, and this card doesn't have any horses on it. It's like got a caboose, a caravan, sort of like a circus come to town or like a gypsy sort of situation. And it's got this looming figure in the corner there, sort of like a puppet master almost, or somebody who's like controlling. I don't know. This card is right now one that I'm just like, I don't know. So maybe that's it. Yes. Thank you. You don't know. You don't know at all. Sounds kind of patronizing, but you don't know it all. You don't. You know, when the Chariot is upright, it's about making decisions in the traditional Rider-Waite I'm talking about. It's talking about making decisions and being like really clear-headed and like making a decision to go left, to go right, to go forward, to go backwards, whatever, and being clear-minded and understanding motivations. In the reverse, now referring to this card, the card upright, this particular Chariot card upright, is already confusing. It's already kind of overwhelming to the senses. A lot of things are going on in this card. When it's in reverse, the perspective is just like, what? Make heads nor tails of this situation. And I feel that's kind of what's going on here. You can't make heads or tails of this situation. Or not even your situation, but you. You can't make heads or tails of yourself. Comes right next door to you as the King of Cups in the starting position and falls underneath this Page of Pentacles, who is just somebody, and this doesn't have to necessarily be a specific person, but I think it is, but just like observing others. If it's not a specific person, just observing others and not being able to make heads or tails of them. Like, from your perspective, going back to where you started in the beginning, you're looking at other people or this specific person, you're just thinking, idiot, imbecile, petty, not aware, not evolved. Just like, again, social media is destroying you. You're tied to your phone. You are addicted to Facebook. You're addicted to Twitter. You're thinking all these thoughts. And that's your decision. You can think whatever you want, but that's not the full story. Not the full story. You don't have all the details. You can't fathom. You can't discern who that person is based off what you've seen. There's more to it than what you know. There's more to yourself than what you know and what you're acknowledging, Scorpio. You have a very, what did I say when I was talking about? Yeah, like the ocean. You're complex. You're more than a raging wave hitting the shores. You're more than a quiet wave hitting the shores. You're both of those things at once, okay? There's sort of like a duality in a lot of ways to your reading. There's, I understand it. I'm not going to explain it because that would take too much time, but I understand what I mean when I say that. There's a duality to this reading. There's a duality to you. There's a duality to this person. There might even be a duality and even more than just two different ways of looking at humanity. There's many ways of looking at humanity. There's many different perspectives. There's many different roads or avenues towards understanding and truth and comprehension. And you know what I mean? So relax is basically what I would quote unquote advise you to do. Relax. What you're feeling now, number one, as I said earlier, is temporary. Super temporary. You're not going to be like this forever. You will come back to this Empress energy. You can let her out again at whatever time she will be ready to come out. If you don't have the energy, or if you're not able to put to rest certain discrepancies involving how you've been the Empress before and how others haven't appreciated you, you will cross that bridge when the time is ready. When the time is right, you will cross that bridge, okay? Outcome for October. 3 of Swords in reverse. A lot of reversals, Scorpio. So what does that mean? Just in general, you have a lot of reversals. Like I said, out of the 6 main, you've got 4 that are reversed. And out of your outcome, you've got it reversed. So 7 total cards out of the possible 7? Where the hell did I get 7? 5, right? Yeah, 5 out of all 8 that are here are reversed. So to me, that's indicating that for the time being, you're blocked. For the time being, you might be reserved or quiet or like shut off from other people. Like I said, the kingdom is, the kingdom is closed for the day. I don't think that's what you're going to be like for a very long time. Personally, that's what I just don't feel it. It's kind of crappy to go through it now. It's kind of crappy to sort of receive it in a reading where maybe you were looking for something more positive or optimistic. And it's just like, well, no, that's not the temperature. That's not the weather that you're being forecast today. That's not the forecast for you right now, Scorpio. So, outcome. 3 of Swords in reverse. Show you upright. so you can kind of see it a little more clearly. But it's reversed. And this is actually good. Not to say like your other reversals were bad, but this is good because Three of Swords we associate in this deck and in other decks as being heartbreak, betrayal, backstabbing, misery at the hands of another person. And then that card, just to show you again, that would be the case if you look at it upright. One figure is stabbing the back of another with two swords, as the one being stabbed has been like offering, like, oh, please, let me help you, or, oh, I need help, you know, whatever, like, come on their knees. This figure there in the bottom is like, fell to their knees, please help me, or let me help you, I'm loyal to you, let me, da-da-da, and the figure above is like, nope, and stab them in the back. So, being that it's reversed, you might get that apology or acknowledgement that you were waiting for, that you felt stabbed in the back. Oh, I gave you this money and you just took it and you never said thank you. Or I helped you out that time and you didn't show appreciation. I feel betrayed. I feel as if I was taken advantage of. You might get someone coming to you saying, hey, Scorpio, I'm sorry I haven't talked to you for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, but I just want to let you know that really helped me, man. I appreciate it. Or man, or, you know, whatever. That might come, and then that is the energy that you get. The realization of it wasn't a backstab, it wasn't a betrayal, it wasn't someone not appreciating you. It was just a matter of after you gave them that money, after you helped them out, they had to reprioritize or restructure some things in their lives, and it took up their time, so they never had a chance to call you or send you a text. Now, of course, in your mind, Scorpio, like, it only takes 5 minutes to send a text. It only takes 1 minute to send a text, and it takes like 5 minutes to pick up a call and say, hey, thanks, Scorpio, I appreciate you, and then hang up. But for other people, maybe to them, that would have seemed more insincere. Like, I didn't want to just shoot you a text, Scorpio, to say thank you. I wanted to come by to your house, stop by and see you after work and let you know I really appreciated you. Now, you see what I mean? Perspective. You can't see. Thank you, Chariot. You can't see it completely from their side. If they sent you a text, if they called you over the phone, it wouldn't have been enough, because what you did for them was so impactful, was so great. They had to come and thank you personally. They had to take you out to dinner. They had to pay you the money back. So you gave me $1,000. You gave me $50. I don't care what it was. It took me a month to get $50 back to you. Or maybe for them, it wasn't enough to pay you back exactly what you owe, or exactly what you lent them, or exactly what you gave them. So instead of the $50, here's $100. Just to show you how much I appreciate what you did for me, because that $50 kept the lights on in my house. That $50 gave me and my kids food for the week. And I just had to, you know, take the time to save up enough money to get enough money back on my side of things so I could come back and give you the 100 back. You see what I mean? So in the time that you've been brooding and you've been like, oh, this person, they just took my money and they left, or they're not conscious and they don't care about what's going on in the world around them. But then next time you go to the volunteer thing at work, or the next time that you go down and volunteer your time at the library and you're helping adult learners learn how to read, look who you see, the Page of Pentacles, who was on their phone crossing the street looking like a dumbass. Here they are sitting next to you saying, I want to help these people too. See what I just got really excited. And my tone may have been a little bit adversarial, a little bit aggressive, but that's kind of what I think that's kind of what this is about, is don't think because you've seen this much of the picture that you've seen it all. You've seen a little bit, and you need to be a little bit more open to, and a little bit more patient with waiting to see before you actually make all these judgment calls, before you actually come to these conclusions, okay? Four of Wands is your overall energy for the month. This card has come out a lot this month, so stability is on everybody's mind. Stability and structure and foundations is definitely playing a part in a lot of people's lives, and it is for you too. And I think that's kind of like, sort of, yours is more like a, who am I? In other readings, it's been, what do I have? How am I going to build my life, my finances, my house? Is it going to be okay? Yours is more about, who am I? Who is Scorpio? What is the foundation of me? The keystone of me is really on your mind. And there might be some reevaluation in that. There might be a new outlook. Like, what is it? Like a fruit stand, not a fruit, a flower stand or whatever. And this person, given that this is like a stand, like you would see at like a market or like a farmer's market or something like that, there's a potential for this to look like anything. Like, instead of the flowers being on the left, the flowers could be on the right next week. Like, if this is like a farmer's market, right? I can choose to have the red flowers on the bottom and the yellow flowers above, or I can choose to have the yellow on the bottom and the red above next week. I can choose to wear a red dress to match the red canopy that my shop sits under, or I could wear a blue dress next week. You see what I mean? So, who you are, Scorpio, is still up for debate. It's still in the works. It's not set in stone. You want it to be, like you want it to be something firm that is a foundation that is to some degree predictable and reliable, but it's under construction. Truly, it's under construction. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense to you. That is your reading for Scorpio. Yes, Scorpio. That is your reading for Scorpio. For October, Scorpio. I appreciate you watching up until this point. If something resonated here, let me know. You can leave that down in the comment section below. You can also send me a message, like through my email. If you don't want to put it on YouTube, you can feel free to email me. I would love to hear about what resonated with you. You can also like the video if you choose. Share the video. Also subscribe to the channel, hitting the little notification bell to make sure you stay up to date with when I upload. And if you don't want to do any of that, that's also okay. You know, whatever you want to do, I feel good with it. If you feel good with it, I feel good with it, okay? And I appreciate you guys watching up until this point. And I will be back in about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks when I do your November reading. Until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care.